Welcome to the Are We Idiots Show, where we question the status quo on society's important issues while mixing in plenty of laughs along the way. Now here are your hosts, Mark Weaver and Rich Kroll.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Are We Idiots Show. We are your hosts, as always, Richard Kroll and Mark Weaver.
Mark, I always like when you put me first because, quite frankly, without me, you're always going to be second.
We're
Anyway.
codependent.
We are codependent.
And maybe we should introduce this episode as Grumpy Old Men 4.
Or try-dependent.
In 3D, because we have a guest in the studio, and some might say that this Pet Peeves show is just grumpy old men complaining about things that really tick them off. I
Are
don't
you
know,
insinuating that your brother is typically grumpy with a lot of pet peeves?
I don't know, but this is a good introduction, a good point for an introduction. My brother, Eric Weaver, as we talked about last week, is in studio with us, and Eric's a big part of the Are We Idiots show. As most of you know, he and his band have provided the music for our show. He's also a platinum patron, which we thank him for. And he's our guest today. So, Eric, welcome to the Are We Idiots studio.
That is mostly a good introduction, except the grumpy part. But
well, we'll see after the show's over if people think we're grumpy or not. So, you ready to go, Eric? You feeling good?
I do want to address Rich constantly complaining about the music, not enough music.
Yeah, could you do that?
Coming?
Yeah.
I've been very complimentary about the music.
You've been complimentary, but you've also said, are there any
Yes, I
songs
have.
coming?
He also said he can't tell the difference between the 4 or 5 songs we use.
And I wanted to remind him that, Cheers had one song. It ran many years. The Simpsons, many years with one song. Happy Days, maybe 2 songs for Happy Days, right?
I appreciate you putting us in this same category as those famous shows. But in order to get there, we need constant influx of great new music that only the EWE experience can provide.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
So you would be the Fonz, by the way. If we were compared to Happy Days,
without question.
You would be the Fonz.
You would be Potsy.
You act like you're the only podcast demanding my music,
That's a good point.
The Are We Numbskulls guys have been calling me.
That's a solid point.
All right, folks. Welcome. We have a great show planned. It's a little lighthearted show today. We're going to do pet peeves. First, we're going to do, as always, Idiots of the Week. And Eric has brought a nominee. Rich has a nominee, and I have a nominee. And Rich, you are going to be judge and jury as to which is the biggest idiot. And then we're going to talk about pet peeves. So we're going to go kind of round robin style, and we're all going to go around. And there's a lot of pet peeves. Pretty much everyone has a pet peeve. I've chosen a path where I'm going to try to be a little different, maybe not so common with the pet peeve. So we'll see how I do with that. And Rich and Eric will have theirs. And then we're going to conclude the show with pet peeves we're not particularly proud of. So pet peeves that bug us that maybe either shouldn't bug us or certainly the majority of people who hear them would think that's really weird or that's outrageous or whatever. So we'll see how it goes. You guys ready to go?
We are.
Oh, Richard Kroll. I forgot. The tip of the day. I'm all kerfuffled. Is that the right word?
Not at all.
Okay.
There's always a new word every week.
Every week.
There we go. So do you have a tip of the day, Richie, for us?
I do. And this tip of the day could also potentially prompt you to nominate me as Idiot of the Week.
Okay.
So, folks, when you're in a hurry, getting ready for your day, maybe it's first thing in the morning for work, maybe it's in between something on the weekend, heading out to dinner or a child's event, and you're getting ready, right? You're flossing your teeth, you're brushing your teeth, you're combing your hair, except for me, you're waxing your head, whatever the case may be. You're looking for a fresh pair of underwear, socks, you're running around, you're under the gun. Please remember not to grab the icy hot / that BioFreeze that's used for muscle aches, bad backs.
I don't think I've ever grabbed that in my life, but I go on.
As your deodorant. All right? So,
Better than toothpaste.
yes, better than toothpaste. In my haste, I had a roll-on deodorant next to my roll-on BioFreeze. And in a hurry, huff, I grabbed the BioFreeze, put it on my pits, and within 5 seconds, it was like taking 2 flamethrowers to my underarms.
And killing bugs with the flamethrowers.
It was insane. And then I go, oh my gosh, I just put BioFreeze all over my armpits.
That would qualify you maybe as Idiot of the Week. I have Irish heritage, so I've been to the dermatologist a lot. And one time he didn't freeze it. He gave me this cream, like in a toothpaste tube, to rub on, and it would just kind of over a week or so, it would take care of the blemish on my face. It's like almost like a cancerous type cream, right? Cancerous, or like a steroid type cream that removes cancer, right? So I've had it for like 2 years. I had it in my like travel case or whatever, and I was down the shore, and I don't have my glasses on. I can't see anything up close anymore. I grabbed the tube, I put on my toothpaste, I go like this, and I looked. Thank God I looked down because it was the cancer cream, not toothpaste. Have you ever done anything like that, Eric? Come on.
No, but at least you don't have cancer of the teeth, so that's good.
What would that do to somebody's gums, Eric? Any idea?
It wouldn't be pleasant. Did you also put deodorant on your sore muscles?
Yes. So my muscles don't smell, but
And your armpits are on fire.
our armpits are on fire.
All right, folks. Well, let's move on to Idiots of the Week. We already have one nominee from Rich himself. But, Eric, since you are our guest, I'm going to let you go first. Who is your Idiot of the Week nominee?
All right. Well, this one is called, This Takes the Cake, and it takes place in Pasadena, Texas. A woman in Pasadena, Texas is really frosted at her local Walmart after the store's employees goofed up an order for a graduation cake by giving her one made out of styrofoam. Marcy Flores ordered a cake from the retailer last week to celebrate the high school graduation of her daughter. And things really crumbled when she got to the store to pick up the cake, and the Walmart bakery had lost the order. The store manager told Flores to choose any cake from the ones that were ready to go. The bakers then added a cap and gown photo of Leah on the cake, and Flores brought it to the graduation party. But when it came time to cut the cake, the party's guests didn't get just their desserts. That's because the cake was made of styrofoam, according to the local TV station. So Nellie Flores says she was in complete shock when she found out the cake was not really cake. And it goes on. Walmart offered them gift cards and that kind of thing, but they're not happy with the outcome. So there's really a couple of idiots in the story. But,
Yeah. Who's your pick for idiot?
Yeah, it's tough because the first of all, Walmart shouldn't have had the styrofoam cake with all the other cakes, but I don't know. Sheet cakes are fairly heavy.
Yeah, you would think
when I pick up a sheet cake, and it's made of styrofoam, I hope I would notice that. But so it's probably Walmart.
Yeah,
but
I would
with
go with
honorable
Walmart.
mention for Marcy Flores. But
All right, Richie. Nominee number 1 is in the books, or actually nominee number 2 is in the books. Who is your nominee?
That's a good one. This one comes from a good buddy and avid listener, Larry Helms of Texas. And every week he sends me one from Florida. Now, there's always been debates, what state's bigger, better. It's usually California, Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, New York.
Right.
Could be sports related, but he wants to prove that there's more idiots in Florida than Texas. And he's getting me to believe that. So here's one from Larry. Thanks for sending it. Florida man arrested, accused of fleeing deputy, then calling 911 to brag about it. So a Florida man has been arrested after he was accused of fleeing from a sheriff's deputy and then called 911 to brag about being able to flee from them. According to Fox 30, the St. Johns County Sheriff Office said 19-year-old Nicholas Jones fled from a deputy who had pulled him over for a taillight violation. There was actually also a warrant for this guy's arrest.
Of course, that's why he fled.
For other
Right.
drug-related offenses or whatever.
surprising.
Very surprising. So transcripts from the call show subject saying, I want to know. I ran from a cop 30 minutes to an hour ago. I was the guy that over there off King's Estates, what do we pay you guys for? I've driven past 4 cops and no one's pulling me over. So the dispatcher says, well, what do you mean you ran from a cop? I mean, he turned his lights on me, got behind me. As soon as he was walking up to my car, I fled. And like, my question is, I'm assuming you put an APB out for me and you still can't find me. So he goes on and on.
He's Walter White. He's Walter White. He wants credit.
Based on, they're able to track your cell phone, right?
Right.
So they were able, because he kept on the line, they were able to track his whereabouts. So it wasn't just, there was other offenses and a warrant for other things. This kid, if he just fled like a smart kid would, because he's going to go to jail now for other things. According to WTLV, deputies told Jones that the cop who attempted a traffic stop did not have his tag number, and they were only able to arrest him because he called 911.
Sounds like he wanted to go to jail.
Doesn't it?
He wanted credit. Like, I got away from the cops. He wanted to brag on it, I think. That's
The
what it sounds
ego's
like.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'd rather get away with not going to jail. Right? That's just me.
Yeah, just me.
Call me crazy.
That's why you're not idiot of the week.
Yet.
Yeah.
All right, so I had a quandary here because one of them is a hometown thing, but Rich always brings up Pennsylvania and local stuff, so I'm going to go with the international one. A Pakistan International Airlines flight from Manchester, UK to Islamabad, Pakistan departed more than 6 hours late after the emergency slide deployed just prior to departure when a passenger wanting to go to the bathroom mistakenly thought the aircraft door was the door for the bathroom. She opened the armed door at the left rear of the Boeing 777-340 and deployed the emergency slide. 21 passengers had to be removed to another seat, and 37 passengers couldn't continue their travel and were taken off the plane. The airline explained that while still allowed to operate the flight, they had to reduce and reseat passengers because the door wasn't available anymore in case of a possible emergency evacuations.
Did she get to stay on the plane, or was she one of the ones removed?
No, she was one of the ones, but...
And the actual
37 people had to get off the plane and they couldn't take the flight.
Are those doors that easy to open?
No, we've all been on planes. It was armed. So it's armed. You have to pull up the thing and like pull the big thing and then like push it out. I mean, it's...
So I have a couple questions. Oh, and the actual inflatable slide thing was deployed outside the plane?
Yeah.
Wasn't the window a clue that might not be the bathroom?
That it was armed?
Well, here's the other thing. Wouldn't somebody in the exit row try to prevent her from doing
Well, no,
that?
that was exit row. It's the back of the plane. So, back where the stewardess or flight attendants kind of... That's where it was.
Well, we've all been to the bathroom. We actually did several segments about bathroom incidents on planes, like the girl licking the toilet.
Right.
Or we talked about, one of mine, you got to close the door so the red light goes on. How does a woman not go through all that trouble to try to go to the bathroom?
I don't know, but every week we know that there's more idiots and more clueless people out there than we care to admit. So there are your nominees, Richie. You are judge and jury. Who is the biggest idiot this week?
Eric's is a good one. I mean, it clearly ruined a party, but you could recover from that, right? I mean, it's a cake. Okay, I'll drink more beer if it happened to me.
And you have that story the rest of your life, so it's not that bad.
You do have that story. We've learned a lot of idiot of the weeks are due to ego. So the more and more, and a lot are in Florida. So that one, hilarious, but I've heard it before. That type, a lady screwing up an entire flight and redirecting passengers for 7 hours because she ripped the exit door off. She must have had to go bad. And can you imagine if you're like you're in the air traffic control?
Speaking of pet peeves, by the way, that would have been one if I had to be taken off a flight. Oh my goodness!
Excuse me, air traffic control. I believe they've dislodged the safety equipment to like they think they've landed in the middle of the Hudson River. She had to go bad.
I mean, that...
Next thing you know, she slides down the slide. She thought the bathroom was down the bottom of the slide.
That she's the winner.
Ironically, she probably didn't get to go to the bathroom for another like half hour.
I know. I know. Can you imagine?
She's the winner.
All right. So you send your $1 to Islamabad, Pakistan. All right, so we're going to transition, and again, this is kind of a lighthearted show, so we're going to have some fun, have some laughs. We'll probably be busting on each other, but we're going to do round-robin style, and we're going to go through some pet peeves, and we'll see how long we get until we get a little longer in the show and have to move on. But these are pet peeves, and I think everyone's got pet peeves. A lot of them have to do with driving for me. So I've tried to take a different task and tact and do some obscure ones that maybe not so many people know. But Eric, we'll start with you. What is your first pet peeve? And I'm sure Rich will have some comments. I'll have some comments, and then we'll move to Rich and then me, and we'll just keep going until we have to cut it off.
All right. Yeah, I tried to avoid a lot of the driving ones too. If we have extra time, we can roll them off. But I'm going to start with chatty dental hygienists.
Oh, yeah.
I was just in the chair a couple of weeks ago. Very nice woman, very chatty. And I'm not that chatty to begin with.
No.
But especially when there's fingers in my mouth, it's very unpleasant. She had a lot of questions, a lot to say, and I just go.
That's a good one.
What do you say? What do you say?
I thought that too before. You know, you have all the stuff in your mouth. It could be even with X-rays, all that, and you're how am I going to answer your question? And then I feel rude, or you're thinking, well, why isn't this guy answering? I can't because I got crap all shoved in my mouth, gums, and tongue.
One time, one of them even asked me to repeat myself.
Yeah.
Like, what? I'm sorry, what?
I find if you bite them on the first question, then they tend to
That helps.
slow down the questions.
That's an excellent one. Richie, what's your first one?
Well, I hate to go right to
Driving?
because that for me is the majority of my pet peeves.
And you've already confessed you do have road rage in your body. So.
I have the capability for road rage, and we covered a lot of this with the Cardacy episode with Brownie. But I was just thinking about on a daily, weekly basis, what gets me going the worst, and it's a tailgater. And I don't know why, if I feel personally violated or offended, but I'm noticing it's a lot of young women. Like maybe they're in a hurry, or maybe but that person that comes up to the back of your bumper, especially if you're going 5-10 miles over the speed limit, like on a one-laner.
Right.
I'm already I'm thinking, where do you want me to go?
Right.
Sometimes I will pull over in the shoulder, or I'll slow down extra slow, or I'll jam on the brakes, so hopefully they hit me in the back, which my wife doesn't like. But for some reason, I think out of all the pet peeves in my life, the one that drives me nuts, that I find highly... You could call me a bald Polak who's fat, slow, and whatever, and I'm okay with it. But it's the tailgater that gets my ire up the most. Does that make me weird?
I actually had, because we get down the shore a lot, and the AC Expressway is always packed. But I actually was in the left lane, and I was at a safe following distance for the person in front of me, and there's a guy right on my bumper flashing his lights. He wanted me to get out of the way so he could be right where I was, right on the bumper of someone else.
Well, he's more important than you.
Yeah, like what? All right, so my first one is, and Eric will recognize this, and maybe it's a little different from most people, leaving lights on in the house. My dad and mom, mostly my dad, used to harp on this growing up. But with 5 kids, you would not believe, I'll come home sometimes, and we have a larger house because we have 5 kids, and I come home at night, and every room is lit up. Nobody in each room.
Like a
maybe
hotel?
everyone would be in one room and eating. Every room in the house is on, and I'm just like, what in the world is going on? I mean, I sound like a grumpy old man, I know, but is that ridiculous or not? Are you not? These guys are looking at me like, that's never bothered me whatsoever.
Totally valid. My ratio is like 10 lights off compared to 1 on. I shut lights off all day long.
Well, especially at night when you might be trying to go to sleep, and the bathroom light and somebody else's light and the hallway light and the stairway light.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're in a room, you need a light, you turn it on. When you
That's
leave
a
the
normal
room, you
rule.
turn it off.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay. Eric, what's your next one?
All right, this one might be a little obscure, but it's driven me crazy for many years. It's the use other door sign that I see. Any restaurant or store that has 2 doors and one door's locked, and this happens like, I don't know, 80% of the time that there is double doors. It's the one door's locked, one door's open, might be the right, might be the left. The other door says use other door. So they took enough time to make a sign to say use other door instead of flipping the little switch and unlocking both doors. It just drives me nuts. Happens to me almost every day.
That is a good one. No disagreement from me
No
either there.
disagreement at all. Richie?
All right. You're on a crowded street. This happened to me recently. I'm in New York, Manhattan. It's packed. I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder. It's typically a tourist or some clueless foreigner, and they're walking at a pace like it's a Sunday stroll in the park, vacation, and you got to get somewhere. And you can't go left because you got oncoming walkers. You can't go right because...
Right.
And you're stuck behind a slow walker in the middle of you got to keep
Or
the
worse,
pace.
two side by side walking slow. So it's really a barrier.
So you can expand on that. So let's say you're on a trail or someone's walking in this crowded street with cars and they're going side by side.
Right.
Right. So walking pet peeves, either taking up too much room or walking so slow and you can't get around them in a crowded area.
Right.
Crazy, or is that normal?
Normal.
And you know what's worse? When they stop. Like a group of people stop in like a thoroughfare, like at the airport, You're walking and they just stop in the middle and they stop and talk. Like
they're the
not
only
moving
ones.
over to the side. Like there's a thoroughfare here.
They're the only ones in the world.
Grocery store aisles,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Boardwalks, anywhere.
my
Sidewalks are not for strolling. It should be to get somewhere.
I like you guys. This is
Yeah,
good.
Grumpy Old Ben 4, 3D. All right, so Eric, since you mentioned restaurant door, this is probably going to ruin eating out for several of you that are listening. Servers who serve glasses from the top. If you haven't noticed, a high percentage of servers in restaurants, especially the lower end restaurants, they serve a glass of water or whatever from the top, and they put their dirty hands on where your lips are going, and they just kind of grab the top of the glass off their tray, and they put it on the table. And I'm a little bit of a germaphobe now. As I'm aging, I'm getting worse, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't drink out of that now. That's never happened to you guys? You probably haven't noticed it.
I'm not a germaphobe, so if they come with their thumb in the glass, that might bother me. But otherwise,
No,
I'm okay.
Now, if you haven't paid attention, listeners, if you haven't paid attention, watch when you go out and notice how many servers grab the top of the glass and they put it down on the table.
Yeah,
That's
but
a pet peeve.
We've all worked in restaurants.
Yep.
What goes on in restaurants is horrifying to begin with.
Right.
I mean, just all the people scratching their head going to the bathroom, and then they don't have
Scratching your head
gloves on.
making your pizza.
And then then they grab a big thing of cheese and make your pizza. There's so much of that going on anyway. It's not just the glasses.
I always order drinks with an umbrella in it so that they can't do that. Just as a defense
Great
mechanism.
safety tip.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, next one.
All right. This is a small one, but I see it a lot. I don't know, maybe 20% of the time when I go to the grocery store, the shopping carts have trash in them. And it drives me nuts. You try to pull out a cart, and the last person who used the cart left the coupons in there, a plastic bag, their kid's drink cup, and I don't know who they expect is going to clean up that trash, but it's not going to be me. So I have to shuffle all the carts around, and I grab one that's empty. But
Have you ever emptied it into the next cart?
Never. I paid it forward a couple times and thrown the trash out, but it's annoying.
Go ahead, Richie.
All right, this one I didn't really think was a big deal till I actually did it myself. Not covering your mouth when you cough or sneeze. And most of the time, nothing comes out. You think, okay, it's just a courtesy. Maybe it's an old fact, but
Until you saw a slow-mo, right?
I once sneezed, like not around people, but on my own, and a big green mass of phlegm flew out and landed on the floor about 4 feet in front of me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if I didn't do that in a public area or a crowded area, somebody would have a Luger on their back of their head. So that one, folks, cover your. Little kids typically don't cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze.
Oh man, that's disgusting. By the way, if I can just say that.
Yeah, I need a minute. That grossed me out.
All right, Richie.
Compose yourself.
Richie, I have a good vocabulary, but I can't spell.
We know that,
Right.
And you're soft science.
One of my, it's definitely soft science. One of my pet peeves is the wrong word usage. So the most common ones that drive me up a wall are moot, where people say
Right.
mute. The point is mute, they say, and I'm like, my skin automatically goes, it's not mute, it's moot. The next one is adverse versus averse. I'm adverse to that. You ever hear someone say, no,
Yes.
it's not. That's not the right word. It's averse. Irregular. or I'm sorry, irregardless.
Irregardless, yeah.
Irregardless.
Regardless, in itself explains.
Right. Irregardless is not a word.
Right.
It's regardless. So wrong word usage. And there's obviously lots of pet peeves I have with spelling in written work where they use the wrong word and spell checker doesn't pick it up because it's the wrong word. But wrong word usage.
Don't forget library.
Library.
What, is that something I eat? A library? Is my strawberries and blackberries? Throw in some libraries while we're at it. How about the number one of all time? How do you spell, or how do you pronounce ASK?
Ask.
How about the axe?
Yeah, right.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, some people say that.
Now, if it was spelled
KS.
AKS or AX, I'm okay with that.
Right.
That's a big one. Because
Right.
the others I might miss. Like there's some words they misuse. You might miss it in regular verb, but axe just hits me.
Now, some would say you say the wrong word when you try to say water. You
Water?
say water.
Do I say water?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any?
We have tape. We have tape of you saying water.
I said water.
Yeah, you said water.
You just said it twice.
Are you just saying that because we're in Philly?
Yeah, we're Philly. Yeah, Philly. Actually, a lot of people in Philly say water.
WOODER. It's a valid word.
That's not how it's spelled.
That's right.
All right, Eric, you're up.
All right. Kind of similar to the last one, but this annoys me also. I don't see it quite as much as anymore, but chewing gum in the urinal. You walk up to a urinal in a restaurant or a sporting event, and you're about to do your business, and there's chewing gum in there. Somebody decides they're going to spit their chewing gum in there, like that's a valid place. Somebody has to clean that chewing gum out of the urinal.
Or worst case, Eric, the splatter that can create back onto yourself.
Doesn't the urinal cake do that itself?
And this is not one of those
Yes.
times where I've cleaned it up to pay it forward.
Thank you.
What about gum in a urinal next to a shopping cart with trash in it? That's got to really drive you nuts.
Yeah, I tend not to take the shopping cart into the bathroom.
With the lights on.
It's against store policy to take the shopping cart into the bathroom.
All right, here's one.
Oh,
My
here we
turn?
go. Yeah, your turn.
All right. You're in a great movie. It's dark.
Like, you're not starring in a great movie. You're watching
You
a
are
great movie.
sitting as a patron attending a movie in a movie theater, and it could be a critical scene. You know, it's and you're focused, and people are talking.
Oh, yeah. And talking back to the movie, too. There's also those people.
How about just the ones that are like, I don't care about this movie, but I care about what you're having for dinner this week or how your trip
Right.
to Paris was.
Right.
Just like they're in the middle of a bar.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
unbelievable
awful.
to me.
And that'll go to my next one. People that talk on their cell phone at a table. Like, there was someone that I was with, and it was a big group, and he got a call at a table, at a dinner table, and he just took the call and was talking there on the table, at the table at the dinner table, just talking to someone on the cell phone.
Well, it's even worse, like in an airplane,
Yeah, well, you can't do that on an airplane.
but people do.
Well, yeah, well, before it's taken off, right?
Well,
yeah,
I've
they do. Yeah.
had
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, right.
I do that just to feel popular. Right? There's no one on the other end, but sometimes I just
I
start
always
talking.
think that guy's really important and popular.
Yeah.
I wish I had someone to
me.
talk to. That's you? Okay. Good to know.
All right, so my one is not being ready. It's kind of the same as slow, but not being ready. So we were in line for a coffee shop nearby here, and it was, believe it or not, a pretty long line. We waited about 10 minutes to get coffee. It wasn't worth it, by the way. But the board is plain to see what the choices are, and everyone's waiting in line. This person in front of me gets up there and goes, okay, so let me see what I'm going to get. And they're like, do you like this versus that? Like they're starting the process. They just started. They were in line talking the whole time. They're not ready to order. I had the same thing happening at passport control. We waited an hour and a half in line in passport control coming in from Newark, and we're in this long winding line. The guy gets up in front of me, and he doesn't have his passport out, ready to check out. Then he's looking for it. Like, come on, get ready.
I got to say, I may have violated that one. I was at meeting a couple at a coffee shop, and I'm not a straightforward, give me a black coffee or whatever. I like mine a little fluffy with vanilla and
Straw.
and whipped cream. Umbrella, like, that which helps, Eric just pointed out, helps prevent workers from grabbing the glass at the top.
We've learned something.
And the guy I was with said, just give me a black coffee with some cream. And I'm like, well, do you have, what do you have? Vanilla, caramel, latte, macchiato, iced. And I did look over to the couple behind us.
Yep.
And they're like, how can somebody as big as you be asking for such an effeminate old man drink?
And not be ready to do it.
And
when
not
you're
be ready to do it. Because
Did you then say, I left my wallet in the car? Can you hold on? I'll go get it.
I didn't do that.
I have another one in the grocery store.
Go for it.
Same way.
Go for it.
I've had people in front of me bag all of their groceries and then decide to open up their purse, get the checkbook out. Like they're not ready to pay. They're not ready to pay for the groceries.
All right, Eric, you're up. One
All right,
more round, and then we'll move on to the final segment.
Okay. Mark's heard this one. This one's it happens to me often. I complain about the mix at a concert.
Oh yeah. He's
So
fanatical. He's fanatical.
And I'm sure people aren't always happy with me when I'm screaming at the sound man. But it seems, I know it's a difficult job in some circumstances, but I've been to many, many concerts, a high percentage of them where you just can't hear the vocals, or you hear only bass and drums, and it's just a terrible mix, and you're paid good money for these concerts. And it annoys me so much that, I've gone to the sound man many times, complained to him. I've had people scream at me as I was walking to the sound man because they thought I was trying to get a better seat.
Get in front
and
of
I'm
them.
like, no, I'm here on a mission to help you all. So,
and surprisingly, they don't understand.
actually, and my wife and I have, at the Moody Blues concert, we talked to the sound man. They made a change, and the whole rest of the concert was better. So we're like,
And
Robin
Justin
Hood.
Hayward said, "Thank you to Eric Weaver for adjusting our sound."
Exactly.
Ever since I've known Eric for 45 years, he does make people's lives better.
That's what I do. Yeah.
That's a good one, Richie.
All right, so I was going to say it can also be driving related, but it's line related. Folks that are more important than all of us, like, let's say you're getting onto an on-ramp at rush hour, and most people start to get in line a half mile or whatever you're supposed to, but there's always those handful of people that pull all the way up to the last car
Yep.
and then put their turn signal on and expect you to let them in. Some
Right.
people don't.
Right.
And it could be even in a line. It happens a lot. Boarding an airplane.
Right.
All right, section 4. And then, people line up, and there's always those people that go right to the front.
They
And
don't respect the queue.
they don't respect the queue. But I'm not going to use that one as my pet peeve. I'm going to actually give my wife one. Jill, my wife, lovely Jill. We share a bathroom, as most couples do, off the master bedroom. And invariably, when she wakes up, she wakes me up. Or when I wake up to go to the bathroom, I wake her up. So you're in this quick, you first, me first bathroom. If I leave the toilet seat up,
I learned that a long time ago. man.
bananas, because I think she once sat in the actual water of the toilet. So
Yeah, I
that's
learned
a
that a
pet
long
peeve
time ago.
and a legitimate one. I apologize, and I won't do it again.
I got a worse one, which I'm confessing I didn't plan to do this, but so in my house, I actually at night sit down to pee.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Here we
Eric,
go. Here
this
we
is
go.
coming.
Yeah. Not only do I have to keep the seat down, but without getting too graphic, my wife would be awoken if I was peeing at night because there's a certain sound associated with it.
Distance?
I'm a tall guy, yeah.
So you have extra distance.
Extra distance or whatever. But so
Or something else.
So probably 20 years ago, she said, "Just sit down. Doesn't make any noise. Doesn't wake me up." So I'm trying to keep a happy wife. I sit down.
You should install a
makes
urinal.
That makes me, I guess, effeminate.
Just
What's
don't
that?
spit gum in it. You should install a urinal.
I should install.
That's a bad one, because I remember a football coach once saying, "Crawl, what was that move? What do you pee sitting down?"
Yeah. So,
So,
now you say
you actually do.
my podcast host does, and I have for 20 years. But that was not my pet peeve. I wanted to end on this one because I promised it last week that I would have something to do with my pet peeve of government statistics. GDP, right? GDP, gross domestic product, is universally known. Everyone's falling asleep right now.
You
It's
really going epic economics on us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, my.
It's universally known as like the health indicator of our economy.
Oh, yeah, we all know that.
GDP is spending by households, businesses, and government over a certain period of time. Now, let me ask you a question, Richie. If you ran into two guys from
Bernie Sanders?
high school, and one of them said, "Yeah, Rich," you said, how's everything going? He says, "Yeah, Rich, everything's going great. I'm spending a lot. I'm going on vacation. I've maxed out how much I can borrow on my mortgage. I have 2 leased cars, and I haven't yet gotten to my IRA." And another guy says, "Yeah, Rich, well, actually, I'm saving a lot. I paid off my house. I fully funded my IRA, and I basically save a lot of money." Which one would you think was healthy and successful?
This is a trick question?
No.
Did you know there was going to be a test?
No.
I had no idea.
No. But my point is...
can I answer?
The question's obvious, but okay, go ahead.
I think the guy that is really screwed up with debt is the wrong guy.
It is.
Wow.
And it's an analogy for where we are as a country. When the government measures our health by how much people, businesses, and government spends, not saves, that is a real pet peeve, and it drives me. And that's, if you look at our parents' generation, they saved until they had time to buy something. In our generation, we've been conditioned that you spend. There's all these debt instruments that allow us to have immediate gratification, and it's no wonder our country's in poor shape when the leading economic indicator is based on spending. That's a big pet peeve. So, yeah.
Sorry.
Did you wake up? So I had to get that in because, and now don't even get me talking about the unemployment rate.
Don't get him started, Eric.
Unemployment rate, U6 is the real unemployment rate. U3 is what they use. Don't.
Well,
Can we end on a lighter note than
Yeah,
that? Real
sure,
quick.
go for it.
Because I know you like to have Rich describe pictures on the podcast. So
Okay.
this picture was taken in my bathroom. What do you see there, Rich?
so this is good. We have a toilet dispenser, that holds a roll of toilet paper, and there is an empty, that grayish brown roll, completely empty, and a full, healthy-looking new roll of toilet paper sitting on top of it.
That's right.
They don't have to put it back on.
No, it's an empty roll of toilet paper, and they just didn't have enough energy to actually put it on the holder.
Yeah. I got another one, by the way. My
I won't say who that was.
Yeah.
No, don't.
leaving the car, when you have a shared car, leaving the car empty of gas. I 100 times it's happened to me between my wife and my daughters. We share cars, and they just leave it without gas because the next person will have to deal with immediately going directly to the gas station when
this
they
one?
leave the house.
You just cleaned all the dishes. You just filled the dishwasher or emptied the dishwasher. You spend an hour in the kitchen, and you come back a half hour later,
There's dishes in the sink.
and there's a bunch of dishes with half-cooked food and forks and in the sink.
That always happens in our house. I've had to put that one behind us. All right. So now we're going to get to the final segment, and each of us are going to confess, I guess is the best word, a pet peeve that bothers us that either probably shouldn't bother us, or if it does, it's definitely an obscure pet peeve. So I'll let you go first, Eric, unless you prefer I do.
No, we're definitely saving yours for the end. This is. I'm not necessarily embarrassed by this, but I've gotten a lot of grief for this one. So I don't like to eat food in its living form. So I eat chicken, but I don't like eating chicken off a bone. I don't like eating steak off a bone. I don't even like peel and eat shrimp. And the worst is soft shell crab. It just completely disgusts
soft shell
me.
crab is
But,
disgusting.
like I like a crab cake, but I don't like peeling all the stuff out of a Maryland crab. It drives me nuts. I'm not in favor of eating anything in its living form.
So your Neanderthal carnivore self is not, you
It's
wouldn't
discriminating.
Be good. You wouldn't be good 10,000 years ago.
No, not unless someone could make a crab cake.
Okay.
Well, that was not as embarrassing as I was hoping for, but whatever. Hopefully, Rich
Sorry.
has something that's embarrassing.
I don't know that it's embarrassing. But
No, you guys have missed the point of this. I'm going to be.
here's
I'm
what-
going
That's
to
why I
be.
wanted him to go last.
I'm going to be taunted for mine.
so
You already were sitting down.
I have a problem, and there's no reason for it, with people that either want to act like big shots or try to let people know they're big shots, or people that want to be something special, but maybe they're not really trying, they're just that way. I can't stand people that wear sunglasses at night, or sunglasses in a movie theater, or sunglasses in a bar, or sunglasses when there's no aspect of sunlight or bright lights. It just seems like you're trying to attract attention. I don't know why it bothers me. What do I care? It's like, being bothered by what somebody wears or their shoes or their hairstyle. I shouldn't care, but I think about it and I want to say something.
Maybe they just came from the eye doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The guy, the SAP CEO, Bill McDermott, wears sunglasses all
I'm
the time.
not
He's got an eye condition.
talking about the big wraparound glaucoma sunglasses that I know somebody came from the eye doctor.
From Cocoon.
Yeah, I'm talking about just your regular, Ray-Ban,
Guy in a discotheque.
guy in a discotheque, it's just
At Pulsations.
on an airplane, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that I don't know why it bothers me.
Yeah, those were.
Should I be embarrassed by that?
I don't think so. See, you guys. Okay,
missed the boat?
Okay,
Well, let's see. Maybe
I
you can
think
guide us. Maybe I'll
help us.
Maybe I'm overplaying my thing, but I really get annoyed at what I'll call military marketing. And there's several depths of this, but when the military is paraded out at the beginning of a game to honor the troops and, basically sing the national anthem, and it's so blatantly exploitive of the military by the NFL, the NBA, mostly any kind of sporting events, and it's so. The military used to pay for that privilege, and they caught a lot of flack when they found the NFL caught a lot of flack because they found out that the military was paying for the privilege of being honored. But it's so exploitative, and it goes back to my feelings about the militarism in this country and how we're of a bias towards war. But these organizations that are obviously exploiting the military and the troops for their own personal marketing, I hate that. Now, here's where I'm going to get in trouble. I even hate the commercials that the military runs. I don't know if you've seen them during sporting events, but it's like a video game, and they show these troops in a video game like format, and they're in war, and they're shooting around, and they're going through like some Middle Eastern environment. And it's has some catchy phrase at the end. It's obviously done during sporting events to attract young boys and it looks like Call of Duty, looks like a shooter game, and they're trying to get them to sign up to go to war. And then the last one, I am so sick of these daddy troop coming home videos surprising the kids at school. I mean, how many of those I have to see? If the wars are going on in perpetuity, I have to see one of those 4 times a week on the local news of someone coming home from war and surprising his kid at school. I mean, give me a break.
He's your brother, Eric.
Wow, he is a curmudgeon. I'll tell you.
I mean,
That did help. That your opening premise of 3 old grumpy men.
but I take it that none of that bothers any of you guys.
I could care less. I like the national anthem.
I think those stories are nice.
I love the flyovers with
They
the
make me
Air
cry.
Force. I love seeing a
You don't
guy
feel
who's
you
been
don't feel
away.
like you're being manipulated into loving the military, associating with something that you love.
No, I
What does
also-
one have to do with the other?
and I think Eric, because there's several times he looked over at me like that.
Is this guy serious?
I could care less about GDP, how that's measured. I mean, so you're a different sort. You're an economic. Help me with the word there. Economic what? What is
You
it?
lost me on GDP.
Yeah. So he's your brother, as I said before.
All right, so Richie, if you had to pick one of these that was the best
What was
pet
that
peeve,
buzzer that just went
someone
off?
texted me. I don't know why. If you had to pick one pet peeve that you heard today that you really didn't think of before or really liked, what would it be?
The lights on, because well, I'll tell you why. Because it reminds me of being a kid, and my dad saying, I'm not paying an endless Pico bill. I'm not helping inflate Pico's stock price. And even though it costs like what 0.0009 cents, a minute to put the lights on, it is just a flick of a switch, and it is wasting energy, and it is a meter running. So that one I didn't really think about. Yeah, that's annoying.
And I guess my closing comment, and we'll pass it over to Eric for his closing comment. My closing comment is these probably shouldn't bother us as much as they do. we talked about it on previous shows. Is life really worth it to worry about this kind of small stuff? Don't sweat the small stuff. But it does bother some of us, and it bothers people that are listening. So we thought we'd do a fun show about it. What's your closing comment?
Especially GDP.
Yeah, GDP really bugs me. It's so manipulative.
I think it's worth complaining about a sound mix, though. But I would say, yes, we're curmudgeons. We shouldn't be this annoyed. And then I'm going to try to maybe take a breath. Next time I see gum in a urinal, I'm going to look the other way. Well, not while I'm at the urinal. That'd be another pet
Maybe
peeve.
add your gum to the urinal.
Definitely don't look to the side when you're at the urinal, Eric.
And I'm just trying to accept these things a little bit better.
I already feel a softer, nicer, kinder Eric Weaver after this show. I can feel it.
The sound man is happy.
No, that he'll never let go.
All right, folks. Well, make sure you listen next episode when we talk about the college admissions scandal. I actually saw an article again today, Lori Loughlin or whatever. That's kind of still going. It's the so-called varsity blues scandal. And if you've been living in a cave, you probably didn't see it. But basically, a bunch of rich people bribed colleges to get their kids in when they weren't going to get in otherwise. So we'll talk about that. It's been big news over the last couple months, but we'll talk about that in all its glory next episode. And as always, please remember, if what you hear or see sounds idiotic, then we're just the guys to help you sort it out. See y'all next episode. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Please download, subscribe, share, and review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and also our website.